Good? Damn. You can do it. You want to do it next time?
We usually do that to annoy our buddy who has a little film crew as well.
I'm your host, Jeff Zart. We're going to take you behind the scenes with the craft distillers who are pouring their heart and soul into crafting the next version of America's spirit. This is the Great American Whiskey Cookers. On this episode of the Great American Whiskey Cookers, we are talking about Chester, a hand-pounded copper still from Germany, and of course, that magic ingredient, water. And we're going to dive into the production capacity of this small Midwest distillery. On this edition of the Great American Whiskey Cookers, we are talking production and still. If you haven't already, like our videos on Facebook, social media, Instagram, and we do have a Patreon page as well. We'd appreciate the support. But again, we're in Galena, Illinois at Blaum Brothers. I have Matt and Mike. I got the names right?
Got it. Indeed.
And there's a whole story behind that. But we're standing in the production room, and it's a cleaning week, right?
Yep.
So your still is behind me. Talk to me about your still, what it is, size, how you landed on the still that you're using.
When we started out, we were told that size matters.
Okay. There you go.
With relation to the still as well. No, honestly, we were told, and it's advice that we give other potential distillers, is really buy the biggest still you can afford to manage at the time. You're going to outgrow it very soon.
Or in our case, buy the biggest still you can't afford.
That's true.
Well, it's actually,
How much did it cost?
They did have bigger ones.
more than a Cadillac.
More than a Cadillac.
Yeah.
More than like a Cadillac CTX?
Yeah, barely. Yeah. Yes, quite a bit.
Okay.
I
A
mean,
few Cadillacs.
decade ago, 6 figures. We'll put it that way.
That's fair.
And I mean, there are different stills you can start with. This is a handmade German still. It's really high quality. It's going to last a long time.
Size? How big is it?
2,000 liters, so about 530 gallons.
Okay.
All hand-pounded copper. All hand-pounded by the Germans.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was living overseas in the UK, I actually got to fly over and see this in pieces being built. And I expected to see a huge factory with all these machines doing it. It was just a bunch of German dudes, like,
Just pounding.
welding and hammering away. It was pretty impressive, but yeah. So we named the still Chester.
Okay.
And we picked this style. It's called a hybrid still. So, pot still. A lot of people refer to these as column stills. They're just rectification columns. We can't distill just on those.
Right.
But the nice thing with this setup is it's modular, it's versatile. So when we're making things like malt whiskey that we just want to double pot distill, we can do that. We can bypass the columns.
Okay.
When we're making things like bourbon and rye, we run it through one, from the pot to one column and just use one or two trays. When we make vodka, we run it through both columns. So
Sure.
you can do a whole bunch with that.
And you're making all your whiskey on this one pot, and this one still.
Yep. Making all the whiskey over here. Vodka, obviously, would need to use these columns, but we have another still over in the corner that we added a few years later, 3 or 4 years later after we opened. We got that one from Spain, and we do a lot of the more finicky things on there. We do our gin fractions, rum, absinthe, some of those more finicky things.
Yeah.
Smaller still, but it's a cool one.
Nice. Sweet mash, sour mash?
Sweet mash.
Sweet mash.
Yep.
For your whiskey, really?
Yep.
So what? That means you're starting fresh every single time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Why the decision to go sweet mash instead of sour mash?
Honestly, infrastructure, and I mean, to be able to maintain sour mash, you have to have certain equipment to do it right and not worry about it spoiling.
Right.
We didn't find a compelling need to do it. I think we did 1 or 2 batches of sour just to see if there was a big difference, and I just didn't see it.
Right.
Didn't see the value in it. Not to say sweet's better than sour, but it's different.
Right. So in whiskey circles, in the whiskey geeks, and you talk to Kentucky, water's a big deal.
Sure.
Right? One of the things that they preach on all the time is that their limestone water. Right. Where do you guys get your water? Or explain that a little bit.
So kind of like how we didn't come from a distilling family and don't have a story about that. I know a lot of people don't like me giving my blunt answer to that, but
I do.
So we're in Galena. This is an area that's insanely rich in limestone. Doesn't really matter. It goes through a reverse osmosis system. It goes through water treatment. Any of the big distilleries that talk about on their tours how it's coming down through the springs and into your bottle, that's not true. It's going through the same exact water treatment that we have here. There's just on a bigger scale.
Right.
Maybe somebody would argue all that with me, but I think that was more of a critical factor prior to water treatment.
Gotcha.
You know, that I think that had a big impact on how whiskey tasted many, many decades ago.
Yeah.
But today, I just don't see it being a big talking point.
How many barrels does your still fill?
About one. I mean, a little more than one, depending on the entry proof. But I'd say a little more than one. So if we have a week where we distill 5 days a week, we're filling about 6.5 barrels worth of that.
Okay. So if you're doing about 6.5 barrels a week, so on a monthly scale, you guys doing about 24, 25 barrels a month, give or take?
Probably not quite that many. I mean, when we're doing it for a week, it'll be 5 or 6, but the next week we might be doing something else.
Oh, sure.
But
you didn't tell us there'd be math involved.
I'm sorry.
yeah, math is hard.
I'm so sorry.
We're just
No.
distillers.
I mean, to put everything into perspective, I mean, we fill about 225 to 250 barrels a year. We're pretty small.
Okay.
I mean, that actually surprises a lot of people. They think we're cranking out thousands of barrels. Just we're not.
Right.
We don't have the equipment to do that. Or, I mean, I guess if we wanted to run 24/7, but we're just not at that point yet.
So 5 days a week, you're distilling.
Yep.
Then you have a cleaning week that you normally run every, what?
Kind of in
16
between
weeks?
products.
Okay.
But when it needs it, I mean,
All right.
we keep everything pretty clean, but occasionally you want to hit everything with chemicals.
And I'm seeing behind me this little baby still.
Yep.
What is this? And what do you use it for?
That's Edith. So
Edith.
we have to name our stills. And actually, most people say, "Oh, you started small and got bigger with your stills." It's the other way around.
Yeah.
That's the newest still we have from Portugal. It's just a simple pot that we, do R&D. So testing different botanical distillations on it, doing R&D for absinthe. We did some of our first, actually in the jars there's some agave spirit, or what we can't call tequila. But being able to do it on that scale is a lot cheaper than fucking stuff up on that one,
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I get that.
it's a handy little thing.
So that's what that is.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's how you're playing over there and figure out what you're going to do. Like, all right, this is the max scale.
Scale
Here's
it
how I
up.
want to do it.
Yeah.
And then you scale it up and you throw it onto your big still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And then you put it all together and then you wait. You put it into a barrel, you wait. Maybe.
Yep.
Right. Depending on if it's a clear spirit or a brown spirit.
Yeah.
So tell me where they find you online or how they can locate you guys.
BlaumBrothers.com on the interwebs, and all the social medias that you'd expect to find us, you can find us.
Fantastic. You can find us at thegreatamericanwhiskeycookers.com. You can find us on the socials as well. And we also have a Patreon page that you can get to and give us some support and some love. Until next time, if you can't be good at it. See ya. There we go.
Good eyes.
Oh shit! I hope the drill wasn't over there.